Hello. Hello. I'm running late. Hold on. This is going to be a 2T night, let me tell you. We got a lot to talk about. Oh no. That camera angle's terrible. That's better. All right, we are back in our educational corner. Let me pull up my chat on the secondary device real quick. Stand by. Hey, child. Child. Middle child who I love. My chat's gonna die. Anyways, what a mess we are tonight. Hopefully it doesn't die while we're doing this, but it might. Hello everyone. All right. I have made a massive list of the things that we need to talk about. Oh no. We have got tractors to talk about, we have trailers to talk about, we have timelines to talk about, we have shop to talk. There's some things about the channel that I'm hoping to do. Hello Leah, Carolyn, Mom, Bill. So I'm hoping we get it all in tonight. If we don't, we might have to make this part one of part two. Good evening, Karen. You won't be able to join us. Hey, Brian, welcome. Hello, Colleen. Colleen, I'm glad you're here. You are what we're going to start with once I get through our brief introduction. So we're going to talk about, first of all, this evening, we're going to unbox some seeds from Colleen. That's super cool. We have tractors to talk about, why we bought another tractor, and what it does. Hey, RGB, welcome. We're going to talk about the timeline of the Homestead. Briefly, what's coming up in the next couple months. I realize I'm not doing a very good job in my videos of explaining kind of what, I you know why we're doing what we're doing, but in process. So there's some big things that are going to be happening here in the next month or so, and I want you guys to know what's coming so you can plan accordingly. And then we have some shop talk about the channel at the end. At some point we will do questions like we always do, and we will go through the commentary. But first, as always, except for last week when we had broth, this evening we're having perfectly peach tea. It's perfect. I've already brought the kettle over and we're having sleepy sinus. Karen says, just wanted you to know that my son put your rain video on to sleep last night. Awesome. I guess we'll talk about the rain video real quick. Let's do that. Hey, can you bring me a charger? Hey, for the good phone? The knee fins? I don't even know if I have an outlet over here, but we'll figure it out. So, Lady Gray, that's a good one. Yeah, can you plug in this one for me? I don't know if it'll reach that far. Maybe that one's closer. I'm gonna try it. Just that one, yeah. Sorry guys. So as you know, we do the live stream with the phone. I use a secondary phone for our chat. Just plug that in right there. That one. Other side. And I realized my secondary phone was at like 2%. So if I'm a little bamboozled this evening, I was on duty yesterday, then we had church this morning, and then had a whole bunch of stuff. And I go back on duty tomorrow. So there's just so much to talk about. So let's get right into the rain video first, although I was going to save that for the end in shop talk. We're going to talk about it real quick because we've actually gained and lost subscribers over the relaxing videos. And it's actually evened out. So I don't know who left or if they came back, but let me tell you in part why we're doing it. As you guys know, we have to hit a certain number of hours for monetization. And while our entire purpose of doing this is not monetization, it is a incentive. If you can get paid to do something you're already doing, why not do it? So speaking of getting paid, if you haven't done it already, please hit the like button. Yay. So most of my videos are not reconsumable. Okay, so once you watch us slaughter chickens, you're not going to go back and watch the slaughtered chicken video again. Why would you? You've already seen it. Now my wife and kids can watch like the same TV show over and over and over again because they like it. I don't understand that. I watched something once and I don't really want to watch it again for like 15 years. So maybe that's just me. But something like the relaxing videos, the rain videos, I have one coming up in 2 days that I think you guys will like. if you don't like them, just skip them. No big deal. We're still doing the whole vlog thing and the whole setup that way. But there are people who like to fall asleep to these kind of things, and I've met a few of them at work. Hello, Marilyn, welcome. And the thing about the rain video is people will not watch it, but listen to it over and over and over again because they go to sleep at night. So without me putting out a whole bunch of just like really quick nonsense, because when I do the Homestead video specific, we try really hard to have a point to the video. We want it to be advancing the story. We want it to show something we're building. I don't want to just go out there and feed the chickens, you know, or pull a weed or whatever. I want it to be interesting for you guys, specifically for that style of video. If I'm going to make one where I'm just doing chores, I want you to know it's me just doing chores. And the rain video, I'm going to have several rain videos. I want to have a maybe like a crickets in the springtime. We might even have just like the diesel tractor running as white noise. If there's a sound that you would like us to do, just let me know. Send me an email. We have it in the description. Send me a comment. If I can find a way to do it, I might even go to like the river down here and record the waves, just whatever. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. If you don't like them, don't worry, the vlog stuff is still coming. Jeremy V says thunderstorms. Yeah, man, I can't wait for a thunderstorm. That's on the list. The snow, I almost wish I would have not done a time lapse and done the actual sound, but I don't know how much snow makes, but we have a very good microphone for that. So that was why we're doing the rain video, and it's working. Our hours have skyrocketed in the past 2 weeks, really since a lot of you guys came over from the Modern Yeoman. We added 120 or 130 subscribers in the past month, and a lot of them go through and plowing through the old stuff. But the average time watched on the rain video is like 25 or 30 minutes per, and if 100 people watch it, that's a whole lot of hours. So that's why we're doing that. We're not changing the format of the channel or anything like that. It's just trying to hit a broader audience. But we'll get back to hours in a minute. I want to unbox this. Colleen sent us a box. If you don't know what our address is, this is us. We are Flannel Farms, P.O. Box 1057, Urbana, PA 23175. And ooh. Oh, Colleen, you're so cool. So she has banded these together to let me know what they are. Cool seasoned veg. Oh, and they're 1,500-year-old. Oh, yep. Are these all heirloom seeds, Colleen? Are they all? Holy cow! So these are all heirloom, all cold weather heirloom seeds. I would go through. That's amazing. I would go through all of the cold weather ones, but just to give you an idea of how many she sent. That's so cool. That's for Mrs. Flannel Farms. African daisies, stocks, lavender, poppy, giant rattle, milkweed for the little flannels. It's the butterfly garden stuff. This is so cool. So cool. Pepper, habanero for the kids. That's your kids like spicy. And some herbs. She says, let me know if you want to try bay tree starts. Not spicy pepper, she says. No, habanada. I'm sorry, I read it too quickly. We got chives, cilantro, dill, fennel, which is really close to fennel, so it's close to my heart. Oregano, parsley, stevia, and, oh, there's more under here. Adoptive seeds. We got incorn, higher protein than modern wheat, but much lower yields, easy to grow, nutritious, but difficult to thresh. Bringing biodiversity back. How cool is this? Not only that, she sent a book for recipes for this. This is amazing. Oh, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Chamomile for you know who. Yeah, that's right. Tea drinker. and then a whole list of warm season. To give you an idea how thick it is, we're not going to go through all of them. But warm season veg, nightshades, yes, whole bunch of those, and cool season par ducks. Jeremy, I think you can make sweetener from the stevia. I think that's what it's for. So that is the box from Carolyn. And we discovered through her, hey Donna. Donna says, thank you for this sweet, let me get my other. This is the problem with our setup. We need a studio. Oh, hey Brett, glad you made it. Don't fall. Okay. Donna says, good evening. Thank you for the sweet sleeping music. I had a dream that rain came down on me as I was sleeping. I think that's good. You're welcome. We talked about that briefly a few minutes ago, so if you listen to the playback, you'll hear it. We discovered from Colleen's return address that she is not terribly far from us, so I believe her and her family are going to come up in a couple weeks and actually get a tour of the farm. Maybe we haven't worked out the details, but lunch, dinner, something like that. We'll figure it out. So thank you. Thank you very much. So now we have, if memory serves, we have Bill Boulevard, we have Donna Drive, we have Nancy's Nook, and I think we have Colleen Corner for the garden as we do it. So, let's talk about tractors. I hope you guys like tractors. I love tractors. We've been looking for something with a front end loader, the bucket on the front. And when we first moved to the property, we were not actually sure if we were selling our old house or not. So we did not have the resources. So we were looking for something very inexpensive, tractor-wise. And as you guys know, we're gonna talk about this real quick. We don't know how much time we have to do things, right? So don't be scared. Be prepared. We know that bad things always happen, right? We've talked about it before, the tsunami and all that stuff. Good night, Colleen's daughter. Thank you. Your mom's awesome. I'm sure your dad is cool too. I'm looking forward to meeting him. Actually, some of the stuff she told me about him makes me know he's awesome, but we're not going to talk about that because that's none of your business. We feel like watchmen on the wall, right? You can see the stuff on the horizon that's coming our way. So when we first moved here, we weren't sure how things were going to go. And as we talked about last week, we ended up butchering our own chickens the very week that Walmart ran out of chickens. The whole thing hasn't fallen apart yet. There's still time. Don't be scared, be prepared. So we went ahead and got a tractor. We got what we could afford. We put it back together. It was broken. We fixed it. And we plowed our fields and we planted, and we have wheat growing and the spring peas and the winter oats and all that stuff. And it's out in the field currently, and it should be ready for harvest in another few months. It's also something the animals can eat. We ended up selling our other property. We had some more resources, so we were able to take care of a few more things. We built the chicken coop. We added the nets, things like that. So, Brett says first tractor I ever used was a Farmall. My buddy Buck, who I get all my feed from, has a whole bunch of really cool old Farmalls. But anyways, so we bought Lucy, and Lucy's been great for us, but Lucy's a very small tractor. And to give you an idea, there's a really cool website called Tractor Data. So the Ford Jubilee was built between 1953 and 1954 to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Ford. It was originally sold for $1,560. All that to say that it is basically at the PTO, it claims to be a 30 horsepower tractor, and the drawbar claims to be 20 horsepower. So it is not a terribly powerful tractor. It is meant for 2 plows max. And when we did the front field, that's what we have, is a 2-bottom plow. And that about, I mean, it was choking and sputtering and stalling. It was hard on the poor thing. It is a 2-wheel drive, 4-speed, and it has a 2.2 4-cylinder gas motor. And the long and the short of the other parts of it is the rear lift is about 800 pounds. So the hydraulics on the back of the tractor will pick it up by about 800 pounds, which is okay. But as you guys maybe saw or maybe didn't see in the Work With Me Noisy Machinery one, I was actually doing wheelies trying to pull that log out of the woods because it was I guess, more than 800 pounds. Now, all those things were when Lucy was new in the 50s. So I have no idea, after time you start to have compression issues and things like that, how much power she has left. I think it's a scotch less than that. So let's talk about the Ford 4000, which is what we just purchased. And this will give you an idea of the difference in capabilities that we have. The one we have is the 68 to 75 model, and this is important because, like I said in the video, it is a bigger motor. Its original price was $3,500. Its horsepower is 57 horsepower. The PTO claims 52, and the drawbar, the pulling power, is 47.5, and the PTO tested was 42.65. So substantially more power. Good evening, Nancy. Substantially more power than Lucy. It is a two-wheel drive also, but it has a locking differential so that I can get both wheels to drive. And it actually has a 10-speed transmission because it has 4 forward gears, 1 reverse, but then it has high and low. Now here's where we get into the kicker part. Oh, and Lucy, we don't like to talk about it, ladies, but Lucy is about 2,800 pounds. And that's weight. The rear lift capability of this Ford that we bought is 3,200 pounds. It is a 4-plow possible tractor. It has that much power. Rear lift, 3,200 pounds instead of 8. So that is 4 times better. That's way better. And it weighs almost 5,000 pounds. So it is a much bigger, more capable unit than Lucy. However, I was talking to one of the gentlemen in our chat. I don't remember who it was specifically. I'm sorry if that I don't remember specifically. He was mentioning that he has multiple old tractors, and of course, when you buy something that's fully depreciated, right? I can sell either one of those tractors for what I bought them for. They're not going to depreciate anymore. If anything, they'll be worth more dollar money, but not necessarily more purchasing power over the years. And actually, I paid $1,000 more for it than it was new, but of course, that doesn't take into inflation. So, because they're all both depreciated, I'm going to keep both of them for a couple reasons. One, Lucy works great. There's nothing wrong with her. She works really well. She's just small, but she's really, really good in tight spaces. She's good at smaller jobs when you don't need something that big. She's a lot of fun to drive for hay rides. She's really cute. Really cute. She is. She's a looker. That Ford 4000, which, by the way, the winning name is Hank. So Hank is not nearly as pretty. Brett says cheap, reliable parts, easy to get. They are easy to get. They built 135,000 of them or something. I can literally go down to Napa and still get 6 full parts for it. So super cool, super easy. But same with this 68 Ford. So I took it over to my buddy Buck, and one of the wheels had like antifreeze in it, which gives it more weight. The other wheel did not. So he filled that for me. And then the front wheel actually was cracked around where the lug nuts go, because apparently at some point they were riding it when they didn't tighten it, and the weight shimmied it and it cracked. And he was able to weld it all back together for me. So they are fully operational. Hank the Tank is ready for work. I've already pushed some trees down with it, but it's so muddy and wet right now that all I'm doing is digging holes with the tires. So we're looking at adding some teeth to the bucket, so I have some more capabilities in getting into the ground and maybe popping roots out, as opposed to trying to like use the bucket with the flat bar and go right through. I'm also looking at getting a chain and a hook for the back, because that thing will pull 3,200 pounds just with the rear lift. So we're going to potentially get a chain, and it's not as quick as a bulldozer just plowing through the stuff, but we have a whole bunch of property that we want to clear. We want to clear fairly quickly. So that kind of we're going to talk about trailers in a second, but this will bring up the timeline issue. So there's a couple things that are happening here fairly quickly. I wanted to clear, but we're not going to be able to do that because it's too wet. We plan on getting a whole bunch of gravel dumped because our Bill says we need a recount. He doesn't like Hank. You can call him whatever you want. I don't really care. I'm not calling Hank. Although Tractor McTractor Face, that was a close. That one I really wanted. I liked Maud. I liked Maud a lot, but as always, we put it up for you guys, and the eyes have it. Um, our driveway is ruined in 5 or 6 places. This snow and water has been really, really bad. Brute was cool too. I like Brutus. But the people have spoken, and this is a democracy until otherwise. Um, we we have several places where it's just turned to just total mud. We can get in and out okay, but it's just a mess. And then out by the barn, they put in gravel like right up to it, but nothing around it. So anywhere where you try to turn around or anything like that, it's just muddy. It's gross, and I don't like it. So now that we have a front load, now that we have a front load bucket, I'm going to go get some gravel. I'm working on getting a blade for it, a scraper blade, so that we can take care of the driveway. And eventually, once it dries out a little bit, we're going to start clearing. So coming up here very soon, we're getting gravel dumped. We're building another Eggmobile chicken tractor, except it's not really for eggs, but we'll talk about that. And we are getting a larger propane tank, and we are purchasing a propane generator. So we're looking at 500-gallon propane tanks. We're gonna get a generator that can run our house and our little half horsepower well, because since we found out we actually don't have that big of a well, we don't need that much power to run it. And I'm hoping to daisy chain our 125-gallon propane tank into our 500-gallon, or vice versa, and so that will give us more like actual 550 gallons worth. But I don't like not having the capability to make my well work if power goes out, and that's currently where we're at. I don't like that. We're also going to be purchasing here fairly soon some extra freezers, so that we have space for the animals once we start harvesting. So let's talk about the trailer. I purchased a 16-foot boat trailer the other day from a guy for $125. It's a double axle. 2 of the 4 wheels were flat, but they held air. And so it's about 25 minutes away. Drove over there, picked it up. I'm driving back, and I'm probably like a mile and a half from the house. And I look in my rear view, and one of the tires, the one's like straight up and down, the other one's like totally cantilevered over. And it looked like those little Honda Civics where they jack the cars. And I forget, there's a Bremble, or it starts with a B. They do something where the tires are all goofy. And I'm like, well, that doesn't look right. I checked all the lug nuts and everything, and I thought, I don't know why it's leaning. And I'm driving around a corner, and I'm about a mile from the house, and all of a sudden, bing, and like the whole truck shakes, and I see the tire, ding, 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 just singing on down the road. There goes the tire. And so now my truck is this way, right? And the trailer's like cattywampus because it's got 2 tires on one side and 1 on the other. So it is stanced. Yeah, that's it. Brett says stanced. It is it's caterpillaring down the road, or crab walking, or whatever you want to do it. And I'm only like a mile from the house, so I didn't stop. And it was a really like windy area by my house, so I did not want to stop with that big rig on the side of the road, because there is no side of the road. There's just gullies. And so I'm taking like a mental picture of where I'm at, so I can go back and get this tire. And I'm hoping that last tire holds. And so I get home, and I get into the driveway, and I stop, and I go look. And what has happened is, it was on a square metal stock axle. The other one was bolted onto, or welded onto. So then you had your like actual wheel hub assembly with the tire. And the thing was so rusted that it actually rusted out like right by the leaf springs, and the whole assembly just shot on down the road. Thankfully, it didn't hit any mailboxes or anything. We're a very rural area. And so I dropped the trailer, and I got in the car because it's smaller and I could pull it further off the side of the road, and went back and got the trailer, or the trailer tire, excuse me, and brought it back. I don't have a welder yet, but I'm hoping to potentially take it, or have my buddy Buck come over, and maybe with a piece of like just scrap iron or something, put the wheel back on. It doesn't have to be roadworthy. We're going to build a chicken coop on it. I just need it to be able to be rolled like every 2 or 3 months around the property. And it's only moving a few hundred feet in any direction at any given time. I don't even care if the rubber comes off. I just need the the round part of the tire, so I'm not dragging. I mean, the tractor we have now, the 4000, is strong enough that even if all the tires were gone, it was sitting on the frame, I could drag it places, but we don't really want to do that. So currently, what we're going. Oh, hey, our first bot, welcome. Good job today. Howie Hodges, that's not Russian. Dadgummit, Howie. Remove. Jeremy says, get a little BuzzBox stick welder. I'm thinking about it, but again, I have a neighbor down the street who would take care of it for me. So, hey, my brother's here. Welcome. So, yeah, we have the tire. It's still holding air. The trailer's a little cattywampus. So what we're gonna do? Oh, just bumped it. What we're gonna do is you've seen the last one we built, obviously, that's out in the front field. That one's working really, really well for us. And that one is, I think it's 6 by 10. So this one I'm gonna make more, I haven't actually measured it. I think it's about 6 feet wide, it might be 7, but it's 16 feet long. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and kick it out to maybe 20 feet total. It's got 2 big wooden supports that run down the center that the boat sat on. And I'm gonna just extend those out the back and then build a platform on it. And then we're gonna build our dual coop. We're gonna build a dual coop with a separator down the middle. That way I can have the Delaware flock for meat birds on one side. And then we can have the meat birds that we're currently raising on the other. And I can move them around and not have my feed bill be quite so high. The other thing is with the Delaware meat birds that we're going to keep, we're obviously going to keep a batch of them for making more birds. So those are the ones that we want separate. And then when we make a batch of them for harvesting, they're going to be in the other side of the coop. And that way I can keep everybody separate. The other idea is if I don't have any meat birds and we want to repopulate part of the egg layers, and if we want to have like interbreeding and start experimenting with different things, we can put them in the other coop if we don't have meat birds in there. But we also have the chicken tractors that we might use as love nests, if you will. So that's on the build agenda. So that's going to happen this week. I'm actually hoping on Tuesday to go get supplies for it. And we're going to start working on that. So we have that coming up, and we have gravel spreading coming up. And then at that point, it's almost going to be time to start planting. So we're also going to work on the thermal regulation of our greenhouse that we've talked about before. We've been saving milk crates. Ricky, actually, I think it was his idea. Ricky showed us or told us about spray painting 1 gallon like milk jugs and hanging them from the ceiling and spraying them black so they hold the heat. 1 gallon does a pretty good job. Water does a good job with all the thermal regulation and stuff. But we've been trying to get barrels, but I can't find anybody selling barrels locally for I can't find them. So I think we're going to start with the gallon jugs hanging up and see how that goes. Oh, this peach is delicious. But that's coming up. So we have Nancy. There's a lot that's going to be coming up in the next few months. So I didn't want you guys to worry. Let's talk a little bit behind the scenes. With all of the, I was having fun with the different like work with me type style, the noise of the tractor, just no fancy nothing, no time lapse, just building. Or making firewood. I was enjoying filming those and making those. I'm still going to make them, but I didn't want you to think that the channel was getting away from the vlog. We're still doing that. We're still doing the grow as you grow. We're still doing every little like thing as we do it. So we have a lot coming up in the next few weeks. As you know, our internet is terrible, so I'm trying to line them up with when I'm at work so I can cut them and get them edited and then get them uploaded to you guys. That rain video took 3.5 hours to export from my editing software into a file that I could upload. It actually took less time to upload it than it did for my computer to export it. So sometime when one of our computer dies, I'm gonna have to buy a computer that can actually handle some of the things we're trying to do. When we were searching for computers before, and it said, what do you plan on doing with it? We were literally like sending emails. We were not trying to edit HD videos and stuff like that. So we are kind of behind on the technology front. So I would like to talk to you a little bit, like I said, about the behind the scenes thing. So we have grown by 130 subscribers in the past 28 days. It's super exciting. It's a nice jump from being over on the Modern Yeoman. We had a lot of you guys come over from there. Appreciate it. You've been watching a lot of stuff. We're expanding with our videos, but our hours almost doubled since the 28 days ago, the previous 28-day section. So we're doing really, really well. I think last time we talked, we were at 2,200 hours watched. We just passed 3,100 hours watched. So we're only 900 hours away from being monetized. So that is amazing. And I have a lot of ideas that I want to do with the channel, but I am short some equipment. So, like we did last time with the microphone, I have made a wish list, and I will tell you what each thing is for and why I'm asking for it. If you're able to help, wonderful. As you guys know, anything that gets contributed to the channel goes directly into the channel. This stand that I'm using is actually I thought it was a hand clap and not hand washing. That's okay. I took it as a hand clap. It's actually a cymbal stand, and this thing actually doesn't really stay on here. So if I move it all, it wobbles. So I've put a mic stand on there with a P&T filter. These are my kids' headphones that I'm borrowing to do these with, and I keep taking them from them in the evening, so I've put a set of headphones on there. So if you like the live stream portion of things and you would like to contribute to the live stream portion, there are headphones up there, and there is a mic stand. If you like the sleepy time videos or the keep me company type videos where there's just the noises of the homestead going on for an hour or 8 hours, depending, I'm killing my batteries very quickly doing that, and I am killing my SD card. I have a 64 gig. I have one 64 gig SD card, and it is getting wiped out very quickly. Even when I try and reduce the film settings, it destroys it. Now, one of the reasons it takes up a lot of space is because in that rain video, I didn't loop it for 2.5 hours in. So I don't like it when it's like I'm sure you guys have seen some of the videos where it's looped within like 1.5 minutes and you can tell the loop because the same cricket chirps at like the same time. So I'm trying really hard to make these almost impossible to tell where they looped, but that uses a whole lot of memory, that uses a whole lot of batteries. So I have a battery charger up there, a dual bank battery charger, and I have an SD card up there. I think, and the last thing I have, there's something I want to start doing. And Sean sort of gave me the idea. And this is a very preliminary thing, so I have a lot of details to work out. I don't know when the first one's going to be, but I want to interview people who are homesteading and YouTubing, people that have been successful in both, not just one. And so I need a cable to connect my Canon to my laptop, because my laptop video is atrocious and you can't film and record a Zoom meeting with a phone, which is what we use for our live streams. So those are the three aspects of the channel that we're trying to grow. Again, if this is something that you are interested in contributing to, I have put, like I said, the wish list up there. If you go to our About page on the our YouTube channel, you'll see the link for it. And if you don't worry about it. Pretend I never spoke. We're going to keep pressing forward and growing as you grow. We've managed to make it this far with what we have, and we will keep going. But as you guys know, I like to give you the best quality and things that we can, because you are giving me your time, and you are investing in us just by being here and just by watching. So I don't want you to have substandard things. Now, we could go down a huge rabbit hole on quality and equipment and all these other things, and I'm trying to keep it as reasonable as possible. So anyhow, thank you in advance for anybody who does contribute. And vintage Russian lenses. Oh, that reminds me, I have to go back to that antique store, my brother, and check for those lenses, see if they're still there. They're only open. There's a little antique store around the corner from us where we got that cast iron cauldron, but they're only open like Thursday through Sunday. So when my work schedule doesn't line up, it's hard for me to get over there. And I was gonna go over there the other day, but we ended up going and buying the trailer, and then I ended up buying a whole bunch of supplies. We bought a bunch of seed for planting in the spring, like field stuff, because we're trying to produce our own feed for the animals. Not necessarily harvestable feed, but grazable feed, whatever, forageable for them. So we're trying to make different areas very perma-pasture-y type, Joe Salad, and move them around. So we've been going out and buying those seeds now because, again, the supply chain's getting wonky. Speaking of things, gas has hit $92 a barrel for the first time since I think 2012, and they are beating the drums with Russia for no good reason. So just be careful, guys. If there's something you've been thinking that you need, you might want to go get it. Of course, we've been saying that for 9 months. If God is gracious, maybe it won't happen, but who knows? Just be careful. Anyways, let me see. I think I hit most of what I wanted to say. I know I blasted through that stuff kind of quick. I skipped a lot of chat, but there's just so much happening so quickly that I wanted you guys to be privy to it. Yes, my brother is 3 years my elder physically and 35 years my elder mentally. I'm just kidding. It's 36 years. I'm just scrolling back through the chat, so see, just my other super fancy device. Oh, thanks. You deleted a message for me. Jeremy says get a little buzzbox stick welder from from Harbor Freight, and I'm interested in one of those. But again, where does the tool list stop? I mean, I have a tractor now, and I could use an impact setup. I have a little pancake compressor, but really what I need is a shop compressor now that can operate these tools. So there is so much, so many things that I could spend money on. So I'm just trying to be really careful in what I do invest in. Yeah, Simmons says Chicken Yacht. Woo! That's right, Chicken Hilton. Bill Elrod says, I hope you show how you breed the setup. So the breeding is simple. You just put the boy rooster near the girl chicken, and they do their thing. But I'm thinking, like, because we have a whole flock of mixed birds that are egg layers, and we just got a whole bunch of mixed roosters, I'm just going to move those birds specifically into the chicken tractor, so I know that the eggs I get are from them. Because right now our barnyard mix is so mixed that I don't have any idea which eggs are whose, except for the Easter eggers, because those are a different color. So if I want to start experimenting with the different breeds, I want to make sure I pull them out and then start the eggs I get from them. I know will be fertilized by that rooster and that chicken. So Nancy says with all those roosters, you should be able to repopulate all of VA. Well, most of them are going to end up eaten. Brett says the rain was cool. I really enjoy immensely this time of year's HD fireplace videos on the big screen. Yeah, I don't have a fireplace, man. Stop. I don't have a fireplace. I have the wood burning stove that I could probably do, but it doesn't even have a clear front, so I would just have to have it set up. But I'll see what I can do. Is 900 doable in time? Yes. Yeah, sorry, it took me a minute to realize. So we started May, I think the end of May. And at the rate we're going, we're at 770 hours every 28 days, and it's going up. Each day that I've woken up, it's actually been higher than that. It keeps climbing. So yeah, I really think we'll actually be very close to hitting it by the end of February. So yay, we'll see. Someone says I would love a close-up animal grazing video to sleep to. Pure Zen. When I get, well, you said animal. Do you want close-up of chickens? because I can do chickens right now, and the pigs don't really graze; they just kind of snort. So I don't know that pigs are actually terribly relaxing. But Simmons, if you would like that, I will do it. My brother says, I have found it amusing to get more expensive camera equipment with inexpensive vintage lenses with crazy bokeh and sun flares. Cool. Yeah, your stuff is the visuals are amazing. Marilyn, we do have a PayPal account, and it is with our the flannel guys 54 at gmail.com, which should also be on our about page. So if you go to our about page, the email contact is the same as our PayPal. And then there's an Amazon. The Amazon wish list is really easy. I made one last time for this, and somebody sent us the cable. It's super cool. Basically, when you click on it, it pulls up Amazon, and it has all the stuff in there. And if you click on purchase it, basically you pay for it, but it ships it to us. Very convenient, even though Amazon's hey, you already told me I said Vroom today. We have another spammer. Woo! Go away, spammer. Jeremy says, did all the chicks survive shipping? No, actually not. We had one that died. And I find this very interesting because Murray is who we got our chicks from last time. And when we ordered the Orps and the Delawares, we ordered 42 or 40 something birds. And they sent us like 12 extra. And we had like 10 that died. So somehow they knew how many extra to send to us. This time we ordered 50 roosters, various breeds. They sent us 52 and one died. So I don't know how they know, but somehow they know. Yeah, we had one guy, they all looked very good for the first day. They looked pretty good the second day. And there was one guy that was not getting as big as the other guys as quickly. I don't know if he just didn't eat, if he didn't do what. I mean, the other guys were already getting pin feathers. They're a week old and they're all over the place. But yeah, so one guy didn't make it. So we're currently at 51 and they're holding strong. They're super healthy. Tuesday, actually, I have an hour-long video of baby chicks. And I set the camera inside the brooder with them from a couple different angles and just hit record and walked away. And they are just awesome. They are jumping all over the place. They're pecking at fingers. They're really healthy. It's so much fun to watch. Bill says you'll use an incubator. We will use an incubator. That's our plan. We do want to see if a couple of the broody hens will incubate for us. Mostly because I haven't done it and I want to know. And as you guys know, that we are attempting to know all of the stuff, how to do it with as little intervention as possible from modern things. That's a terrible sentence. Let me try that again. We want to be able to do things without the assistance of things like modern technology, aka electricity and stuff. So while we plan on having an incubator for ease of use, we want to just try doing it with chickens. That's what they're designed for, so we'll see how it goes. But if we want to do 50 or 60 birds at a time, I'm not sure how well 5 or 6 chickens would sit on that many eggs. Jeremy B says, any more ginormous eggs? Yeah, man, I have 5 or 6 of them in there. We got 19 eggs today. So that was the biggest day we've had in a long, actually maybe ever, because our buff orps have started laying. So they are doing cool. They're doing great. They're still kind of little from the orps, but they're laying very frequently now. So we got 19 eggs and it's the first week of February. So very excited about that. We have 35 egg layers out there. So you're not getting any audio, Sean? Is anybody else having that problem? I didn't think so. Maybe you're all just talking to each other and I'm here. It's totally silent, rambling on, and y'all are just having your own conversations. Donna says, rooster noise would be nice to wake up for, just saying. Some of us need that kind of alarm that really works. Well, Donna, what I might do for you is 8 hours of total silence with a black screen, and then like the last 8 minutes would just be roosters. Would that work for you? We'll do all silent for 8 hours, and then at like 8:01, just a whole noise. We were actually joking that at the end of the rain video, I should have put like a shotgun or something, like as everything fades to black and is nice and quiet, blam, wake everybody up. but I don't want to give anybody a heart attack. So, thank you. Another Russian. So many Russian. Sean, did you try turning it off and turning it back on again? Sean's last name is Meekum. You're not part of the Meekum auto auctions, are you? I love watching. Does anybody else like watching auto auctions? This is totally off topic and has nothing to do with homesteading. And if you wanted to turn it off now, I guess you probably could. But I love watching those auctions with those classic cars, Meekum and Barrett Jackson. Now, I don't have cable. I don't have any of that stuff here, but at work, they have all that stuff. So there's that, is it Velocity, I think, TV or Motor Trend TV, something. I don't even know. But Meekum will come on, and it's like 12 hours of just auto auction. And I will put that on in the background while I'm editing videos and stuff and just watch these amazing cars and stuff go by. And I would be so bad at those things because I'm always like, that car's probably worth like $40,000. And then they're like, this car's worth $12,000. And you're like, oh man. Then another car comes across and you're like, oh man, that's probably worth like 20 or 30. And they're like, this is the last one made. It's $80,000. I'd lose my shirt at that place. Of course, I don't think I could afford the entrance fee. But Karen watches them. Right on, Karen. Karen, I thought you couldn't be here. Here you are coming back again. Couldn't stay away. Welcome back. So, to recap, we have 2 tractors. Carolyn says, never heard of it. Don't have cable or satellite. Yeah. Nancy says, we watch. I like the old trucks. I do too. I'm always surprised. Sean can hear. Woo! What? Don't fight. Don't fight. But welcome, Sean. Glad you're here. We are, yeah, no, you would have to have some sort of cable. I guess you probably could watch it online, but I don't know why you would bother. It's really not, like, if you have anything else to do, I don't know that it's that great, but when I'm stuck at work and I can't go anywhere, there's so much trash on TV that we just end up watching auto auctions. But yeah, I love the old trucks that go through, and you'll see one that's like totally redone from like the 60s or 70s, and it only sells for, you know, like $18,000, $20,000, and the thing's fully restored. And I would love to own an old farm truck like that. Put flannel farms on the side. Pull Lucy around into the county fair with it. Someone says, I'm more of an Antiques Roadshow, how it's made kind of guy. I love how it's made. Those are good too. Those are, I can watch those for an embarrassingly long amount of time when I'm at work. It's interesting because at home I watch almost no TV. I watch almost no YouTube because we're constantly doing things around the homestead. There's always something to be done. And so, but at work, we have a very specific kind of set thing. So we have like a morning meeting, we check off our trucks, we do some training. But if nobody calls us, we don't go anywhere, right? For those of you that didn't know, I am in the fire department for a day job. So we're an insurance policy, right? You don't call your insurance guy unless something goes wrong. So if nobody calls us, we actually have a lot of time potentially at the station, if it's not busy, that we're not doing anything. And so it's kind of your time, but you can't leave. So very quickly, you kind of run out of things to do to entertain yourself. So a lot of times TV's on in the background, but that's where I get caught up on a lot of my YouTube videos, and I watch a lot of different people while I'm there, and do research for the homestead and things like that. I edit probably 80% of my videos at work. They also have much better internet. So Sean says, it's a reference to a TV show. You probably haven't heard of it though. See, a TV is a device that allows fairies to transmit grooves directly into your brain. Oh my goodness. Trademark. I like it. Bill says, we found out how expensive a well hand pump is, thinking about rain catchment instead. Are you planning anything? Was it about $1,500, Bill? Because I looked into a couple shallow well things, and it was pretty egregious considering it's just a mechanical device. Currently what we're planning on doing, hey, all right, my brother says I'm off. See you all soon. Thanks for stopping by. I'm planning on putting in that propane for it currently, and expanding our propane by like 4 or 5 times. 1,800, good grief. So we're gonna have that propane back up on a generator. and if I'm doing my math right, I think I will be able to last roughly a year without any electricity from anybody with my stuff. So I'm also tempted to potentially hand drill a shallow well myself just to try it out in the front field, and then potentially use like a solar generator with a shallow well pump, or some sort of hand pump. I also have the tractor now, so I'm thinking of digging a retention pond of sorts and lining it, and then having water that way for the animals. So yeah, water's tricky. I and actually we also did talk about, you talked about rain catching. We're gonna have 2 chicken tractors out there with proper roofs. So I have made rain barrels before, so I might put rain barrels on those and then just run a little sump pump out there to like move it to the barrels that the animals are drinking out of. So I am thinking of doing that. There are some very good rain catchment videos online where people just built like shallow or low pitched roofs. Roofs are they're very easy to build, especially if you're only building it to catch water. So you just make a big surface area and channel it down, and it's done. So there's some good people that have done that kind of work out there already. So, and actually you could probably buy some type of hand crank pump or something to move it from one barrel to another without having to have electricity. So Jeremy says, so when a new subscriber subscribes to your channel, do you get a notification? Does it tell you their name? Sort of. It did until I think I passed 1,000, then it stopped telling me. But if I go onto my actual like background studio thing on my computer, if people allow their subscriptions to be made public, then I can see who my most recent subscribers are. So yes, sort of. Marilyn says, thank you for your services. You're more than welcome. It is the best job in the world. I'm very privileged to have it. Carolyn says, that was for the steel one, the PVC one for about $300. Sean says, listen, my guy, I've seen some talented animals, but chickens aren't smart enough to drive a tractor. I will call it an eggmobile in deference to Sean until I forget. Simmons says, we have a tiny creek for goats and all. So far, all the neighbors' Roundup fertilizers haven't affected them that I can tell. Still haven't figured out why they glow at night, though. We do actually have a nuclear power plant not too far from here. The Surrey plant. It's a hand pump, not a well bucket. No room for a well bucket. That's tough, man. Stuff should not be this expensive. I mean, really, all we want to do, right, is take care of ourselves. And I was talking with Mrs. Flannel Farms about that earlier today, about how obscenely expensive it is to grow your own food, to raise your own animals, to even just to get the seeds to plant the stuff for the animals to eat is expensive. Like, even on such a small scale where you're not trying to do it even to make money, right? You can't compete with big ag. You just can't. It's just obscene. But we're not doing it for the money. We're not doing it because it's cheaper. Although there are ways to get it cheaper, and we're working on doing that. I mean, buying a I think it was $4,500 tractor to clear the land that we've purchased, to buy all the seeds, to turn it into permapasture is not cheaper than, commercial food. It just isn't. Now, once I get all these things in place, it might not ever cost me much if I do it all myself with breeding my own birds and moving them around, and all the things are in place, all the infrastructure is in place. But even with all the infrastructure in place, the amount of time it takes, and then paying back the infrastructure. So even if my birds cost me literally zero and I bought no feed and all my water was rainwater and every fence I made was out of my own property and all that stuff, it's still like, once you pay back all that money, it's just so much money. It's very difficult. But it's also very easy on a small scale. If you're not trying to make all of your food, if you're just trying to make some, Some food is not expensive, but we have 100 birds on the property right now, so that level of stuff is complicated, but it's so much fun. I'm having so much fun. Um, I have to tell you, I was coming back with that trailer, and I was driving, this big diesel truck that I've always wanted, that is 20 years old and has almost 450,000 miles on it. And I was just grinning like an idiot coming back to the homestead, looking forward to building this chicken coop. Like, it's going to take me days and hundreds of dollars, and I just can't wait to get started. It's so much fun. It was very, very exhausting driving that tractor back. Hank, the tractor, in case you missed it, the pole is in. His name is Hank. Driving back, we went 180, 170-ish miles one way. And this guy lived like 15 miles off the main road, like windy, very narrow roads. And I'm driving this big old dually. We put that truck on the back, or the Hank on the back. And I'm telling you, man, I was white knuckled for all 15 miles. And then we hit the interstate, right? And my truck is working, and I'm just waiting for like a rod or something to go flying through the hood. I was so concerned we were going to blow a tire. I had the whole tire kit in the back of the truck. I had the floor jack and the lug nut wrench, and I was just waiting for something to happen. And by God's grace, we made it back. But I tell you what, it was like, we left the house at 7, and we had to stop in Charlottesville at the bank. And I think we made it to his place right around 10:15. No, we did stop for lunch and for gas on the way back, but we didn't make it back till almost like 2:45. So it was just, it's exhausting. But it was that's why when you saw in the video, like, I was just so relieved to be back. I was so tired. But all this homesteading stuff is really so much fun for us. We're having such a good time doing it. And none of it is like, oh man, I can't believe I have to go take care of the birds, or I have to go do this, or I have to go do that. But you have to spend your days doing something, and it's so rewarding. We sat down tonight and we had a chicken dumpling soup with our chickens, and she made it with like our stock that she made from our own birds. It was just so good. It was so satisfying. So it's totally worth it. Oh, Tammy wants to know what the copper thing is behind me. This is, I don't know if it's antique or not, but it's for holding matches. See the matches? And then it's got a striker thing on the side, which probably won't. Yeah, it's all. Just kidding. But what I did is I cut these out of the boxes that we used to fill this with, and then stuck them in there. Yeah, they're all used up. We had a fireplace at our other house, so I made fires a lot. So we just thought this was kind of a cool thing. Probably all we ended up doing was ruining a bunch of matches by exposing them to moisture. But I thought it was cool looking. That's our little tin doodad. Let's see, what else have I missed with the chat? Bill says especially expensive while in the building phase. That's right, and eventually it will not be so expensive. Sean says it's not expensive; it's just expensive to do legally. Jeremy says, so what's the difference between meat birds and egg birds? Are egg birds not edible? Are meat bird eggs no good? It's just what they're bred for. So egg birds are designed to make a whole lot of eggs. So it's not that the meat necessarily tastes a whole lot different or really any different. It's just they don't get as big because they have been bred to bang out eggs all the time. There are larger breeds of chickens that lay good eggs. And so our Delawares and our Orpingtons are known as dual purpose birds, where all birds lay eggs. All chickens, and all chickens are edible, but these are a good mix of getting to a big size and still producing a lot of eggs. But typically the meat birds get bigger faster and don't lay as many eggs because their energies go into getting big, whereas egg birds don't get as big because their energies go into laying eggs. So that's all. Yep, Nancy says, but all these new things are what get you up and get you going each day. Absolutely. And Sean says, I made a bunch of kombucha. The Lord is so brilliant the way he designed bacteria. Absolutely. We're looking forward to making some kombucha and some other things. There's so much we have to learn this year. I can't even begin to tell you how much we have to do with learning how to preserve and can and stuff. We bought a whole bunch of canning supplies at Walmart the other day. So we are starting to stock up and get prepared. So yeah, Marilyn says I need a hand pump for my well so when the electric goes out. And so we that's why we kind of decided right now to go with the additional propane in the generator. I would like to be able to make water with no electricity or anything, but practically that's very difficult. And if I'm going to spend $1,500, I think I'm going to be able to do it with propane and with the generator. But eventually I want to have some other source of water on the property that requires little to no mechanization. And it might be rain barrels and boiling water. So someone says, I enjoy it too. I'm finally set up that I'm starting to have fun with breeding plants and livestock. Super cool. Donna says, what are the black chickens? I think one of them is, one of the black ones that we have is an Americana. But there's also, there are Jersey Giants and there's several different black chicken breeds, but I think ours is an Americana. So, well, send us a picture. We'll see. I don't know specifically, but we'll see what we can find. So, Sean says, I kid you not, if I had land, I could probably take $1,000 and buy enough plants, animals, materials for a homestead. Shocking how much material people throw away and how cheap stuff is at yard sales. Absolutely, Sean. And if you've seen our greenhouse build, that was almost all from our own land. It does depend on what you want to do with your homestead. So, in theory, right, you could take an axe and a saw and buy woods, build a cabin, make a hole in the ground and cook your food and do that kind of thing. Yes, you're absolutely right. And you can get really crazy expensive with stuff. So you can have semi-wild birds. We have 4 birds that roam the property all the time, 4 chickens. And if you have enough of them roaming around, they'll feed themselves. But you pay for a certain level of convenience. So keeping them in a place where we can access them, moving them around to different areas of feed, having the electric netting and the solar panel brain that keeps it, predator resistant, not necessarily proof, if one was determined enough, is expensive. But convenience is expensive. So, yeah, there are cheaper ways to do it. And we do utilize yard sales, and like I've said, the tractors were secondhand, the trailer was secondhand. So there are ways you can do it. That's awesome. Sean says, I'm working on a chicken coop where everything is salvaged. The materials, tons of free stuff, nails, roofing. Yep. The other thing I'm trying to do also is I'm not here a third of my life because of my work schedule. So I'm trying to leave things that are easy for my wife and kids to do. So ease of use is a big part of what we're trying to do. Because if it's too difficult or takes too much time, you might not be able to get it done. So, but that's just what we're trying to do. I'm also not trying to necessarily be Joe Salton or be production level chickens or live in a hut either. Like that's just our way of doing it. But I also want to be able to do everything ourselves with none of those things. So I'm working on all the layers. We've talked about this briefly. I'll get into it very, very briefly. There's like 3 ways you can be 3 levels of preparedness in a very, very, very simplified version. There's money in the bank preparedness. So if you have money in the bank that if you lose work or do those kind of things, then you can pay for things for a certain amount of time. So storing up money is one level of preparedness. The other level is like generators, and being able to do some things yourself, right? Feed yourself, do those kind of things, but you're still dependent on modern electricity, conveniences, power tools, whatever. And then there's like the third level. Be careful which finger I use. Third level. It's ring finger. Nobody panic. And that's like Amish level, right? And those guys can. It is a good microphone. He says he can hear the clock in the background. Maybe we'll just do an hour at the clock. The Amish don't care. The Amish don't care what happens to gas prices. The Amish don't care what happens to the electric grid. The Amish don't care because they have all their things set up with no power, no whatever. They're set. And I know there's different levels of Amish. I'm not. It's just a brief generalized point. So what I'm trying to do is I currently have almost all of the things set up for a regular, normal life. I have some money in the bank. I have barns. I have tractors. I have these things. We're working on getting the secondary level set up. So if I still have my electricity, if electricity goes out, then I have my generator and those kind of things. But I also want the third level, the ability to do these things without anything, whether that's convenient or not. Because if it is really difficult and inconvenient, it doesn't matter. Because if you're at the point where you have no electricity and no running water for extended periods of time, you're not going to work. So if your whole life is spent, whittling sticks to make, whatever, wattle and daub fencing, it doesn't matter. That's all you have to do. So I'm working on all three of those levels kind of simultaneously. We only started doing this back in August. Adam, hello. He says, hello all, late but been busy planting fruit trees. Yes. And ran out of sunshine. So, well, Adam, that is a great reason to be late. And the beautiful thing is, it's been recorded for posterity. Posterity, not prosperity. Posterity. So, Carolyn says, I love Joe Salton methods. I do too. I'm not knocking Joe Salton by any stretch of the imagination. I just mean that he is a commercial farmer, not big ag or any of those things. But that's how he makes his living, is with that kind of thing. I'm not trying to turn this farm into a production level farm. I just want to make all my own food. So Sean says, if the Lord allows, I actually do want to experiment how cheaply I could do it. I think it would be fun. I think you're right. And I love that kind of thing. That's why I bought the tractor, the trailer the way I did. And also a lot of the wood that I'm going to be framing with is stuff that we took down from the shelving in the barn. So a lot of that cleanup stuff I've kept, and it's like dimensional lumber, and it's difficult to use in some ways because none of it is the same, but I don't care. It's so much fun to try and take those kind of things and work with it. So Sean says, your brother actually really encouraged me into the cheapo aspect. Yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive. Rob Greenfield also encouraged him, but he's a new ager, so I can't level with his reasoning for a lot of it. Yep. Amish Badger don't care. Marilyn says, you're such a hard worker. I'm amazed at how much you can do. I appreciate that. I just feel like I just do what I do. I don't know that I particularly feel like a hard worker. I don't understand why people don't do stuff all day. That's all. It's just this is normal to me. So it doesn't feel special. It just feels like normal. But Carolyn says, put money in the mattress. Don't trust banks. Good advice. Simon says, yes, a balance of self-sustainability without being an isolated hippie dirt hermit. I've been craving a like-minded community. Yes, exactly. And that's one of the things we're trying to do with the channel, right? It's not just about sharing the journey and stuff, but finding community, find people that we can work together on sharing knowledge. I have gotten so much information from you guys by asking questions, or some of the things you volunteered. I post a video, you guys respond. It's been amazing. So it's really cool to know you're not alone, right? So I can throw a video out there or a question or something I found that fixes things, and there's all kinds of people that respond. And we're still very small as a channel. And I mean, in the next year or two, I can't imagine how much this community is going to grow. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, Sean says, my dad used to think I was crazy for buying all those vintage hand tools, but now I'm less crazy. They last, man. So when are we making the trip to edible landscaping? I'm not sure. Nancy says, I'm very interested in his new book about doing systems on a smaller level. Yep. The Homesteading channel with Brian says, see, the one thing I like about your brother David, the biggest thing I take away from his philosophy is just do it. Get calories in the ground. I enjoy him not being set on a particular method. Yes. So that's the thing, right? Get busy. Give it a shot. Give it a try. One of the things my wife and I say to each other a lot is we've wasted more money on worse things. So like if you're looking at something and I forget, it was a tool or something we were looking at Tractor Supply or Southern Seeds. I don't even remember now. And it was like, I don't know. Oh, it was pomegranates. We were looking at pomegranate trees. And they were like 30% off or something. And so I said, well, I've never grown pomegranates. You grow pomegranates? No, I want to try growing pomegranates. I don't know. It's, it's $35 for each one. And I said, we have wasted more money on a worse idea. So, what's the worst that could happen if you try and raise chickens? They die? And I'm not being light with animals' lives, but, or you discover you don't like it and you have to give them away, or, what? You waste a couple $100 trying to build a small little tractor in your backyard? Try it. Just try it. Yeah, Sean says, I've spent more than that on pizza. Exactly. Like, if you don't know how to build something, grab some tools and go give it a try. I'm thinking about breaking up this tractor build. Let me know what you guys think. The chicken, the second coop, the big one. I'm thinking about breaking it up into a two videos thing. I'm thinking about doing one video that basically gives the design of what we're doing. The tractor, the layout, the framing, like a literal how-to, without actually building it. So kind of draw the walls and measurements and those kind of things. And then the build I want to be almost pure, like just pure time lapse with no talking. So it's one of those kind of working videos. And I want to film the entire build just in time lapse. So, and then at the first video where I talk about the design and how material lists, how much you need, and those kind of things for this specific build. And then once it's built, I will film the end of it where we kind of go over the whole thing and then make that one video. So it's the product needed, material list, price list perhaps, and then finished product. And then the other video will be just time lapse. What do you think of that? I'm hesitant to make videos about, well, if you buy a 16-foot boat trailer, then you will need XYZ to do whatever, because how many people are going to buy a 16-foot boat trailer to build a chicken coop? I don't know. But the principle of buying a used thing that you didn't know you could make something out of is what I want to encourage people to do. And I almost feel like if I lay everything out and say, you need 45, 2x4s, and you need 45, 3-penny nails, and you need 2 rows of this, and you need 6 of that, then people will get locked into the idea that you have to have this many things to build this thing. And really what I'm just trying to do is show you can make things out of just about anything and make it work. If I had an old car, I'd drive an old car out there and you could, or just drag it out there and open the door and it's a chicken coop. It doesn't have to be what I'm building. I'm actually going to build it in a separate, with a different roof line just to make it different. So this one's going to be a lean-to style, so I think the back wall is going to be like 6 foot, the front wall is going to be 8 foot, and then it's just going to be a pitched roof. I think that will be easier for rain collection too, because I'm not going to have the split roof, the hip roof as it's called. So I can have a rain barrel on one side as opposed to having it split. So it'll actually be better for rain. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for this video. You guys seem to be okay with that idea. We'll see. Sean says, I learned so much with every project. This is the 3rd big project I've worked on, and it's leagues nicer than the previous ones. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Well, and we get better as we go. We grow as we grow. So, yes, if any of you didn't know, which I'm sure most of you have come from there, or the Modern Yeoman, my brother is David the Good. He is awesome. He's been doing it for 10 years. He's been doing the YouTube channel for 10 years, but he's been gardening for his whole life. So, yep, Sean says, my general approach is figuring out what's essential instead of the exact. Yeah, principles. Principles is what we're aiming for. So, Very hip roof, super groovy. Bob says, I'm watching it from our central station right now, 24-hour shift at the fire department. Hey, cool, Bob. Central station. So does that mean you have 3 stations, Bob? And are you a dual trained department? Our guys are all medics and firemen, so we jump back and forth between the trucks. So, it's always nice to have a fellow FOIA man watching the channel. And I have to say FOIA man that way because I was trained by a guy from Boston. And whenever we were going through our training, he'd go, oh, you want to be a FOIA man? Oh, you want to put out the FOIA? So I always have to kind of say it with Boston accent. So, Bill, he's building the first permanent fence he's ever built myself. He must be rubbing off on me. My man. There you go. How's it going? Are you having fun with it? Does it feel very satisfying? It's so satisfying when you get done with a project. It's so exciting to start. Normally the middle of it's kind of garbage because you're like, you get all mad and grouchy at it. And then it works out for you. Oh, it's so much fun. Building is great. It's one of my favorite things to do. Well, my friends, we have blasted right through the 1 hour mark. We're at 1 hour 16, and time is flying. I do have to go back to work tomorrow, unfortunately. Bill says it's satisfying, but it's taken me a while. But that's okay, man. It gives you something to look forward to. I don't know about you, but I like ruminate on the projects that I'm going to be working on. So I've been thinking about that boat trailer since I got it home. And you wake up at night and you're like, oh, I wonder if I should do it this way. Should I add a door there? No. Yes. Maybe. Will it leak if I do this? And it's just fun. So thank you everybody for hanging out with me on this Sunday evening. It's always a nice crowd when football isn't on. The Chicken Pete video is going to be out on Tuesday. I don't know that I'm going to get anything filmed on Tuesday. I work Monday, I work Wednesday. So the next potential vlog is going to be probably on Thursday, but it depends on how long this coop build takes as to what I end up releasing. There might be a bit of a break between them because of it actually is going to take a while to get it done. Brian says from the Homesteading channel, if the trailer is going to be 4 foot wide, do you think a 2 foot drop on the roof will be too much? No, so the trailer is actually, it's at least 6 feet wide, but the 2 rails that run down the middle, it's only going to be about 1 foot to 1.5 foot on the edge. So what we're going to do is use those 2 rails as a center beam. And then I think it's going to be about maybe 1 foot to 18 inches overhang off the side. So I'm going to use 2x4s, and it spanning that far won't be much, in part because the framing isn't going to be very heavy. And the roof isn't going to weigh a whole lot because you don't have all the insulation and drywall and all those other things that go into a residential structure. So I don't think we're going to have any problems. But those rails sit on the aluminum or the steel frame. So if need be, I can run jacks down from the corners of the edges of the platform down into the trailer. So I think we'll be okay. Simon says, good night, Brian. Thank you for the chat and all the ideas and the encouragement. You're welcome. Thank you for your company. Thank you for all of your chat. I appreciate it. Carolyn says, good night and be safe, Mr. Fireman. Carolyn, no promises. We'd rather have fun than be too safe. Sean says, ciao, brother. All right, my friends, my flannel flam, grow as you grow. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me for a particularly long episode. But like I said, we had a whole lot to get through. So thank you for all of your thumbs up. And I will let you know how we progress on the items to make the channel better, and as we progress on the homestead. So have a good night. Bye.